So if I'm helping 10, 20, 30 people do that, and there's some haters over here, does it really matter that there's haters over there? Is there anything?
Yeah.
We had decent record deals,
Good.
and we had decent distribution, and got to go tour for years. You know, I was living as good as you can live.
Yeah.
In prison. So I had a lot of things you could take, but they realized that, like, oh, Zig's not a bitch. You've literally gave me no, like, but like, if you wanted chips, ask me for chips. I would have said eat chips. You know what I mean? Like, you want a soup, have a soup. I've never told you no in the couple weeks we had been Sally's. Like,
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Big Manz Cabana podcast. I'm your host, Matthew J. Lepore, and once again, Mr. Ryan Ziegler.
what's up, everybody?
So I want to apologize to everyone out there. I know there was a bunch of you guys. You guys were blowing up my DMs, especially my phone. A lot of you guys, and the emails were insane. I know that a lot of you guys reached out to me through Spotify. Basically, what happened was the Audacity situation, and then I had to fix it, but I didn't fix it completely. So obviously, 1,000% on me. And, yeah,
I spent the early part of my life, I mean, through now, I'm still a musician, so ironically, I got the sound problems, but that's all right. Lessons learned.
It was like, well, because I was so excited for you to be here, and I remember even saying, I'm like, I'm nervous.
He was.
You're like,
You do better this time.
Yeah, no, it was cool. But yeah, dude, so, Mr. Ziegler, it's good to have you back, man.
Oh, thank you for having me back.
That's just so cool.
Well, get it out of the way now, though.
What?
I'm mad I'm back before Sonny was on because I don't want to get yelled at. So I want you to get yelled at.
Oh, yeah.
So, Sonny, I told him.
He did, Sonny. And it'll be soon, dude, I promise. You and Sam. So, last time we talked about, we'll do a little shout out to iDrink real quick. It's not coffee. It's not caffeine. It's iDrink. Actually, it's really good. I know we talked about it last time. Poor Bobby, he was like, I love what you said about it. And it was like the most like funniest way to go about it. Cause I was like, I really hope it doesn't suck. And then I tried it. And then it was like really good. Yeah.
I pretty much drink them every day now, so.
Yeah, they're good, dude.
And I can. My cardiologist can't yell at me for drinking them. There's no caffeine.
There's no caffeine. I do need to dial my caffeine down, though. Pretty heavily.
I had some today. I was a little wired. Haven't had it in a while.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm close to like 2,000 milligrams a day.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So as somebody with heart trouble, back off.
Well, I got my blood pressure tested
Great.
like 6 months.
You're 20-some years old.
Yeah, I know.
You're fine now. I was fine, too.
Yeah.
I did a lot of worse things than caffeine when I was your age.
Oh, man.
And I thought I was invincible. And guess what? I was like 35, and I was doing a worworkout with Brittany, who we train with.
Yeah.
And
just pull it just a little.
we were.
Yeah, beautiful.
Is that better?
Beautiful.
We were doing a workout, and we're doing a CrossFit workout, actually.
Sure.
I never beat her at CrossFit workouts.
Dude, she is an athlete.
She's an animal.
Dude.
She's
She's
an
an
animal.
athlete.
But whatever was happening, I was like a full round ahead of her in this workout, and I remember I was on the assault bike, and I'm like, I'm freaking dusting Brittany. Like, and the workout was almost over. There was like a couple minutes left. I was like, I just got to like maintain this pace. She can't catch up. It's like possible. I'm finally going to beat her. I'm on the bike, and all of a sudden I felt this crazy throbbing in my neck, and my heart rate spiked. I don't even know what, because I was probably in the mid 150, 160 range at that point anyway, just going so hard, and it went way higher than that, and then my neck started throbbing like crazy, and I was like, oh, whoa, I got to back off, and I was in atrial fibrillation for like 5 days after that. I had to get chemically converted in the hospital and stuff, so, and I was on a pot of coffee and I don't remember if I was on a Bang or a Reign, but I was on something like that at the time. So,
Well, do you Bang? There's a lot of allegations against them right now.
yeah, that's just basically meth.
Yeah, well, they were also fighting for their lives in court. Obviously, court of public opinion destroyed them.
Yeah, you don't see it anywhere anymore.
But yeah, but people's livers or kidneys, one of the two, were like failing. And like, there's a big girl, not a big girl, but like a big TikToker, had this happen and was showing like medical records, but she couldn't suggest, or she couldn't say the name of the company, because you know how I was like a big on TikTok and like Instagram, like people would be sponsored by them, like Bang sponsors me.
Oh.
Yeah, it was big on
don't know,
TikTok,
but yeah,
but
okay, I believe you.
she was like, one of those.
I don't let
big...
China spy on me.
What?
I don't let China spy on me.
Listen, I know it's so bad, but it's just it's so I know it's so bad though.
Hey.
I have such a bad addiction to it.
They are funny.
They are funny. But anyways, so one of the things that I did want to talk to you about was your music,
All right.
right? So we'll kind of get into like who like Ziggy is, because to everyone, especially at our gym now, and to everyone that when you were at PAC, you have kind of created this like community, you know. And I don't want to blow smoke up your ass, but a lot of people came when you left.
Yeah, no, it was nice. I will put it out there. I asked no one to do that.
No, true, but I mean, especially when we all went to get sushi the one day.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure if I put everyone in front of me and then just had you like go somewhere else, I don't think a single person would have said a bad thing about you. And they all were like, there were so many problems, like, the only right option was to come with Ziggy, but when it comes to music, I think I can definitely see like you have a lot of passion for that too, because I got to go check you out at the FU church in Philly.
Yeah, the First Unitarian. I appreciate it. I looked up the first song. I saw Matt and his lovely bride to be standing there, and I was like, oh, look at these guys.
Yeah,
that's cute.
Well, I didn't want to like wave and like mess you up.
Nah, you can't mess me up.
I told you I was coming. You didn't believe me.
No, timing. I said we were going on at 7, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah,
well,
you weren't there.
Well, yeah. So the issue was when I went to pick her up. It was her brother's birthday. They were like singing, and I was like, I cannot go. Hey, we got to leave now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Obviously. You got to see most of the set.
Yeah, dude, it was great. I was having a great time.
Yeah, that was fun.
The lady in the tutu was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
It's okay.
There were some characters there.
There were some characters.
And the stairwell down to the venue smelled just awful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So poor Christine had to be exposed to her first Philly basement punk rock show.
Yes. Well, I told her, I'm like, have you ever been to something like this? She goes, no. Like when she walked in there, I tell you, her eyes couldn't be wider. But it was really cool. You guys are great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. The band has been better.
Yeah, the band I'm playing with now is called Been Better. It's kind of pop punk, chill. It's the most chill thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Music wise, I was always in like very punk rock or very heavy bands. Even though I played with most of these guys many times throughout the years. Yeah, we came together during the pandemic shutdown.
Yeah.
Just bored. Started jamming. No real intention of what the music was going to sound like. And, we're all like 80s babies, we're a product of the 90s. So I think like a lot of that vibe kind of came through because we just kind of wrote what we think is fun. I always said like, this is going to date myself probably more for you, but like the Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtracks.
Oh, dude, yeah,
are pretty much what I
exactly
grew
what
up
you're
on.
talking about. Yeah.
That was my music growing up.
Oh, I loved playing those games.
Yeah.
The Tony Hawk games.
I actually didn't play a lot of video games, but just those soundtracks were like, that was my shit.
Really?
I grew up loving that stuff. No, I still don't play video games.
Really?
No.
You know what was weird? The one thing with video games is I really didn't play much as a kid because we always be like playing around here.
Yeah.
Then as I got older, I was like, what would be really nice? It's like just stay inside and just play video games.
I never saw the point. I always thought it was like a time waster.
Which is fair. I can't say I disagree with you.
Yeah.
But there's just something about like,
I get it, dude. Well, on the topic of my band all plays video games together, and it's like something I don't do with them.
Oh.
And then I show up to practice, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we were getting those guys in this lobby. We were talking crap," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, cool, neat."
I think you should try it one time.
I think with my wholly addictive personality, which is horrible, which is like I am successful at things because I am addictive.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like
and
I will go
positive, yeah.
after it, but this is why I try to focus on positive things. Because I guarantee, because I've played video games. Like I remember one of the first times I got exposed to one, I don't know which one it was, but one of the Call of Duties, like they had to like pull me away from the TV. Like I was like, oh, I was like a zombie.
Yeah.
I was there for like hours. I was like, I just can't have it. Can't have it around me because I'll like it.
That's probably fair. So, so I'm guessing that's what happened with your music then too.
Yeah. Grew up just playing and was like I think with the music stuff, it was always people telling you can't do this stuff, on your own. You can't do this, you can't do that. And like especially the type of music we were playing back then, we were playing like heavy hardcore stuff, before it was it's a lot more popular now, but this is back in like the early 2000s. People would be like, you're never going to do anything with that. Well, I think that was just like a challenge to us. So like we ended up, never got like any like major record deals or anything, but
Yeah.
we had decent record deals
Good.
and we had decent distribution and got to go tour for years, go
That's
go
so
all
cool.
over, do crazy shit, and like the more people told us we can't or we weren't good enough, the more it was like, yeah,
Yeah.
watch us.
Did you ever watch The Bear?
Never.
So there's a good scene where it's like the main character, I can't think of his name now, but he goes, everyone just kept telling me I couldn't and I couldn't and I couldn't, and I said, you know what, fuck it, watch me. And
Yeah.
he went to the like he was incredible, like he's the one of the best chefs ever. But like that's kind of what it sounded like. You guys just get all this like negative, like, hey, you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it, but like fucking watch me.
Yeah. And we got to do it. And like I can acknowledge, like I listened back to some of those early records, I'm like, man, these really weren't good. But hey, we did it. You know what I mean? We got out there and we did it. You know, it was wild. Like there was a short period of time for a couple years there in like the late 2000s, you know, 2007, 8, 9, where you know, I could walk into any store that sold CDs and my stuff would be in there, like
That's so
anywhere. You know,
cool.
it was neat. It was an awesome time. We had to do wild stuff like we were on this label for a while called Eulogy, but they were distributed through Sony.
Oh,
So like a few times I had to like get on like group like meeting phone calls. This is like before Zoom. So it'd be like on group meeting phone calls where you're like calling into New York. These bigwigs are talking about like record sales. And you know, you'd be on there with people moving thousands and thousands and thousands of units a month, and they'd get to us and they'd be like, well, you guys are trying. We're like, yeah, we're trying.
Oh my gosh.
We're barely paying the bills, but hey,
Hey man, listen.
we got to be there. We got to play.
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of bands and a bunch of people and a bunch of crews that will never get to even see that experience.
No, that's
Like-
I always say, I regret zero parts of doing any of it. Even now, like just playing for fun, like the amount of people that pick up an instrument. Think about like the amount of kids that like pick up an instrument to play in the school band that never go further than that or barely even make it into that. And then
I
the
play
amount
trombone.
yeah, there you go. You know, and then the amount of kids that take it one step further and they jam with a couple kids in their garage and it never leaves that. I mean, like you get to like that Taylor Swift level, you're not even like the 1%. You're like the 0.0001%.
Yeah.
You know, just to get out on the road and have it be a paying gig.
Yeah.
It's to me it's an accomplishment. So like the musicians that are out there doing that, and I don't even care if it's like you're doing it as cover bands. I know a lot of people now doing that I knew from music growing up that went the cover band route to make a living
Yeah.
playing their guitar.
Well,
It's
that's
awesome.
that's what. So like obviously like at where I work, every Friday and Saturday there's always a live band, and like they get paid. They get paid just to, and a lot of them are not good.
Yeah.
Dude, it's ugh.
But the amount of work it takes, especially to be a cover band, like I couldn't do that.
Okay.
I could not do that. I could not put that much effort into playing other people's music.
Fair. Yeah.
Like I just couldn't. Like
Has
so
to be
kudos to them that they're willing to go put on because people want to see those shows.
yeah. Oh yeah, people
like-
come out all the time.
I don't mind playing covers in a set, throw a couple covers in a set, but like to just sit there and play exclusively other people's music, like nah.
Well, I Prevail became super popular off of their cover song that they did. They did a metal cover of Taylor Swift.
Love it.
Yeah, that was. I don't know if you ever heard of that. I can't think of the name that they did. But they were like getting popular, but then they did a cover song of Taylor Swift, and it was metal.
Yeah, that works.
And it was dope.
One of the lost recordings of my old band Barricade that like I would give anything to have back. We recorded a hardcore version of Skid Row's "Youth Gone Wild,"
Oh my god!
and it was like in my memory. Now, granted, like I don't have access to the recordings anymore. Like I've reached out to the guy who recorded it a million times. Like nobody knows where they are. Like nobody in the band can find the recordings, the masters anywhere. But my recollection was like the best thing we ever did was this cover, and it's lost to time. But yeah, it was super fun.
There's nothing left but stories. That's so cool,
Yeah, I would love if that tape pops up sometime.
dude. How there's
Or tape. Yeah, God, there's not tapes anymore. But the tracks.
try go up to your daughter after this and be like, hey, do you know what this is? And hold like a VHS tape.
Oh, dude, I had a super proud dad moment where another band I was playing in a couple years ago called Doing Great. We were playing down in Philly at a record.
You played for Doing Great, and then been better.
Well, Doing Great broke up because of the pandemic, more or less.
Oh, okay.
Like we like,
I just thought it was funny because the names.
well, that was the point.
Oh, I understand.
Been Better was like the joke, like when we were like, because me and the guitar player from Doing Great kept jamming, and then the drummer who was playing with Doing Great towards the end, he wasn't the original drummer. The three of us kept jamming, and two of the guys quit.
Oh,
And we're like, well, we're not doing great anymore. And then somebody jokingly said, we've been better. And
that's great. Sorry, I didn't want to take you away from the
so,
story.
but anyway, Been Better was, Doing Great was playing down affiliate, Creep Records in the Piazza. And it was a small little fun show. And my wife brought my daughter down to see me. She's seen me play a couple times. And while I was there, some of my old band's records were for sale in Creep Records. So as weird as it was, my daughter bought a CD of my old band.
Oh my gosh!
I thought it was totally cool. Like she wanted to buy Daddy's record, and I was
Aw.
like, oh, I'm getting emotional.
You are a really good dad, dude. They love you, dude.
Nah, I got great kids.
Dude, she's gonna. I feel so bad for her first boyfriend, dude.
I am creating a killer, man.
Dude, I'm telling you, you might not even have to do anything.
That's the goal.
She might literally just be like, listen, you cheat on me or something like that, I will hurt you. My dad's just gonna sit there and crack
Nope.
a nice little eye drink and call it a day.
I'll just help her bury the body.
I see.
Yeah, she choked out the biggest boy in her jiu-jitsu class on what was that, Saturday? On Saturday this week.
Gosh.
And I was like, they went one for one. He got her once, and they rolled again. She got him in a rear naked choke, and that boy was tapping for his life. And I'm like, that's why we come here.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Well, see, there is this thing with like women where they say a lot of the times they become better trainers too.
I believe it.
Is because I forget who said this, but to where someone like you and me, like we can just go, okay, this 600 pounds, like not that I'm saying, but like men are naturally stronger than women. But the thing is because what makes women so much better lifters and so much better is because for like, okay, let's take your wife, right? Stud. She is a stud. But for her to get there, she had to work on technique and technique and technique. Oh. And her technique is so good. And that's why a lot of the times where it's like, okay, you want to get coached by this guy, he might not have the best technique in the biz, but he's a strong dude. But then you have, like, let's say, like Daphne from the gym. I don't know if you know Daphne.
I met her once.
I use her prime example. Strong as fuck, but her technique is pristine. And you'll get stronger learning from her than just some meathead over there.
No, fully can't agree more. And actually, conversely, I think one of the benefits I have as a trainer, like helping coach people, is that I've lived like a couple different lives and had to like battle back so many times. So like there was a point where I was like massively obese. I was 450 pounds at one point in my life. And then got down to 267 from that one weight loss journey, and like got into like doing CrossFit and all that stuff. And then I didn't have a lot of strength at that point. Then I wanted to get real strong, and now I focus on getting real strong. But now like, we're coming up tomorrow is actually the year anniversary of like me getting this horrible botched surgery.
Yeah.
And I had to fight back from that. And I've had all these other health issues. So like, and I've had to overcome like just lots of little different physical things. But every time I have to overcome one of those things, it's awesome in the sense that like I can I can actually empathize with the person that's like can't just squat.
Yeah.
Because I've had points in my life where I couldn't squat.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we can't teach you how to back squat 400 today. We have to just try to get you near parallel today.
Okay.
But I can help somebody do that because I've been there myself. So it's like the same theory. But I do agree that like women are the women who get exceptionally strong have to put in so much more time, effort to overcome the anatomy portions.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That they just become just phenomenal examples.
Exactly.
And like mathematically, if that doesn't push you as a man, like, yeah, okay, maybe that woman is only deadlifting 400 pounds, but with her frame, you're not doing better than her deadlifting 650.
Take Patsy, prime example. Deadlift like 405.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, you break her weight down, then you break the pounds, the amount of total weight down that she did, and she said she did like 5 reps. It's like, oh, no, she's just like astronomically stronger than I am, and I can just pick her up, Yep.
It's the best, And that's why I love having those types of women around me.
Yeah.
Because I never cease to see that.
Yeah.
When I'm training.
Yeah.
So like when I see just a woman in my orbit doing something beastly, like it makes me want to work a lot harder.
Yeah.
Than like I love working out with strong dudes, but like if a strong dude does something I can't do, I'm kind of like, oh well, they're better than me.
They're better, yeah.
if a woman does something that I should be able to do, they call it sexist, but whatever, it's motivational.
it should
You're
be.
like, oh, I gotta work really,
Really
hard.
hard.
Or I just can't make the excuse.
Exactly.
You
They're
know?
just
There's
better
no
than me.
excuse. Like they're
Yeah.
just better than me.
That's why I think it's so impressive, dude. Like seeing like a woman clean like 335.
Yeah.
I'm like for those ollie lifters out there, it's like it's really impressive because like there's a lot of guys I know that can't squat 335.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I saw a great post today from the Rogue Invitational this weekend. It was the top 3 CrossFit males doing their max 3-rep deadlifts. And I think the top number was Chandler Smith got 605, I believe.
Okay.
And the other 2 were like 585s, I believe, were second and third place. And then there was it smash cut to like Melissa Peacock hitting like a 581, and one of the other women hitting something crazy. And I was like, ooh, that's a perfect example right there. Granted,
Yeah, I know.
there's some chemical balances there, but whatever, it's still impressive as hell.
Dude, it's just it really is cool. Like that's why like especially like your wife or like Daphne at the gym or whoever. Like I just pick their brain. Like poor Daphne, I've had to bother her so many times at this point. I'm like doing sumo demos because Zach's like, you gotta do these, and I'm like, am I doing this right? Can you just watch me real quick?
I still ask questions. I ask questions all the time.
Yeah,
I see somebody doing something better than me, I want to know. I don't have too much pride.
yeah. That's why I always like bothering Rick too. But
Oh,
he's so sweet. He really is so cool.
I don't think you can bother Rick. Well, you probably can.
You could bother Rick, but no, he's great. He's had to deal with me for so many years now. Him and I trained together for so long, but
Yeah, no, he helps me out a lot, and all them guys. I'm never too proud to learn from something. Like if you're better at it than me, I want to know how you do it so I can get better at it.
yeah. So, how did you go from 450 pounds to 275 pounds?
67 was actually my
67.
lowest. Do you want to open this can of worms?
Open. I want to know. I mean, like I mean, I've seen pictures, but like obviously, like like one of the things that I try to do is like I'm like, well, one, I'm not gonna judge someone because I have plenty of like shit that I have to be wearing. I'm like 24, and two, it's like I surpassed. Like who the fuck am I to judge? So I'm like, all right, but 450.
Yeah, well, so that's unknown. I should start the story off by saying we don't actually know how fat I was. That is a running theory.
Oh shit.
Because I was weighed a couple times after the process started. So, like, for example, like I saw 420 with my own eyes after several weeks of starvation. So 450 is kind of like the number I've associated with my top end, and the pictures kind of lend themselves to believe it. But I don't actually know what my top end was. I got massively depressed. I mean, I was always a big dude. I mean, I graduated high school probably like 300, 315 pounds.
Okay.
That was basically my baseline weight.
Yeah.
Majority of my adult life. I like to think it was like an athletic 300 pounds.
Yeah.
but,
Yeah. Sure.
You know, it really wasn't. Now it's getting there. But I got massively depressed. I was a full-blown alcoholic.
Nice.
Just not taking care of myself in any way, shape, or form. Weight started creeping up. The more the weight creeped up, the more depressed I got. Not that they were like coinciding.
Doesn't help.
But it didn't help. It's just building upon each other. It was just getting worse and worse. Drinking and carrying on didn't help. Like I actually I passed out on stage one time when I was that heavy playing, just because like I got short of breath and like passed out. It was bad. And I was drinking and carrying on, doing blow, all sorts of other stupid shit. So the blow probably didn't help. But so the can of worms is when I was 24 years old, I got in a real bad fight down in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And then when I was 30 years old, I got convicted for that fight.
So do you want to talk about that, or do you
That's
know?
fine. I
Okay,
don't
yeah,
care.
because
So when I was 30 years old, I ended up getting sentenced to 2.5 years in state prison.
dope. Okay.
And that was one of the massive reasons I was so depressed was this court case for this stupid fight came up into it, and like everyone has their story. I've done other podcasts on this subject where we've spent like hours breaking down the complexity of my legal case. By all means, go listen to them, or we can honestly get into it one time if you want to.
Sure.
I don't care. It's a pretty epic story, but we'll be here all freaking night if we do it right now. But the quick version is we were at a Flyers game. I was with a bunch of my buddies. We were drinking, carrying on, acting like goons. We were actually on a bus trip. We went from Philly to the Devils Stadium
Okay.
to watch a game there. While we were there, I'm standing there drinking, and I hear these dudes that were on the bus with us, not friends with us, but like on the same bus trip, talking about beating up this N-word. And I'm like, your ears perk up when you hear some aggressive talk like that.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, these guys talking about like
My buddy.
then I wasn't. Then all of a sudden I realized they were talking about my friend, and I got one too many beers in me, and I'm like, I'm gonna assert myself into this conversation. But I went in all cool, like I'm part, like I'm with it, and I was like, yeah, what are we talking about, boys? And and I ended up punching the one dude square in the cheek and knocking him down, and then we got kicked out of the game. We're standing outside the game, or I'm standing outside the game, just waiting for the bus. About 6 of those dudes come outside, beat the shit out of me. And we go back to Philly, round 3. Crazy fight breaks out. One of these dudes ends up getting stabbed. And then we find out 2 dudes end up getting stabbed. And we're like, oh, man. Like, this was at this point, it wasn't like our fight.
Yeah.
Like, it became just like a gigantic brawl. Like, the court statements say like 50-plus combatants. I mean, it was one of the wildest things I've ever seen in my life. We're like, that's wild. Like, glad we got out of there type deal.
Yeah.
Time goes by. And then all of a sudden they're like blaming me for the stabbing and blaming my buddy Chris, who was the aforementioned N-word, for the other stabbing. And we're like, how the hell did we get here? But we're like, justice will prevail. It drags on for 6.5 years. 6.5 years. So over that 6.5 years, mind you, and this is like the part where I'm like, with the mental health stuff and the drinking and the drugging and all that stuff, not trying to make excuses. I was on my path from music and all that to being like a hard partier and all that. But like the depression kicked in because we didn't know it was going to take 6.5 years to have a resolution. It was always like, court will be in 2 months. Court will be in 6 months. And then for years, it was going to be every 2 weeks. And it just kept getting postponed. Investigations reopened, yada, yada, yada. So, the quick version to end it before I go on a whole rant.
No, you're good.
Is,
I mean, we have time.
I don't want to fuck with your format.
No, you're good.
The quick version to wrap it up, and we got, like I said, we can do a whole episode
Yeah,
on this if you want to. Was so we go to court finally, and I'm so excited to go to court. Like I am so like. I was a constable for 6 years. Like, I believed in the justice system.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, it's not going to fail me. Like, I punched people that night. Like, I'm probably going to get some simple assault charges maybe or some disorderly conducts at best case scenario.
Yeah.
But, like, there's no way in hell they're gonna pin me with this crap.
Yeah.
So, trial comes and goes. My lawyer's not good. Not what I paid for. But I'm like, I'm still confident. You know what I mean? It was a 3-day trial. It was a big trial. So they go to read the verdicts. They do my buddy Chris first. We had a married trial. Our trial was together. They go to read our trial. Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. All charges. I'm like, oh, we did it. We fucking made it. And then they come up to me, and they're like, City of Philadelphia versus Ryan Ziegler, yada, yada. Not guilty on the first charge. I'm like, yes.
So you didn't
And it was
settle.
like, guilty, 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 guilty. And then I ended up getting charged with 2 aggravated assaults. And I was like, how the fuck did we get here? Like, it don't even make sense. And my whole thing is, like, we can get into the deep details of it. I got theories. I got all sorts of other crap. But, nothing makes sense. And it was, to me at the time, it was like the worst thing ever. Like,
Well, yeah, obviously.
I had just this break in my ear. Like, I always bring it up, but like in a movie, like when a bomb goes off and there's that moment after the bomb goes off where like the person like wakes up and there's that deep ringing, like that's what happened like in the courtroom. Like I remember it was just like, and I was like, oh fuck, and went out. So yeah, ended up getting sentenced for this 2.5 years. So I did a few months of like, because I didn't go to prison right away.
Okay.
I had time, which is another crazy thing. in the case of things. There was 10 months between when I was convicted and when I started my sentence. So if I'm this horrible person that's running around stabbing people, why the hell did they do that?
So they convicted you for stabbing someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what my aggravated assaults were. Yep. They can, well, they never can. It's hard to say because the charges for the stabbings were attempted murder, and that's what they found me not guilty of. But then the plaintiffs were the stabbing victims, and then I got aggravated assaults against them. So I don't know how, if I stabbed them, how it wasn't attempted murder.
That's where I'm at.
You know, it's like I said, it's this whole crazy shit. But you know, and at the same time, you're dealing with the one thing you always got to keep in mind too. I was 24 years old when this happened. I was 30 when I went to trial. So like, you're dealing with people's memories 6 years later plus. You know, so I just personally think somebody needed to go down, and
it
I
was
got screwed. That's my personal belief on it. There's a lot of other factors involved, but like I said, we can save the juicy deets for another time.
Yeah.
But
wow.
So
That's crazy.
But to wrap to the fitness side of things, I was oh man, thoughts of suicide, you know, just the whole nine. But Nora was alive, my daughter at this point. Nora was a baby. And I was like, gotta pull it together, man. You gotta pull your shit together.
Yeah.
So, day finally comes. I gotta surrender and go to prison. I got dropped off at the lovely SCI Graterford down the street here.
Nice.
It was still open. Freaking gladiator school, man. Like, wild shit. That was my indoctrination, was 6 weeks there. But while I was there, thank God it happened, because I was coming out of this crazy fog. So I had that 10 months where I was out on the street being convicted between I had to start my sentence. Partied my absolute dick off every day. Drinking, drugs, anything. I didn't want to live. You know what I mean? Eating anything I wanted to eat.
Yeah.
Like, I was fat at that point. I got really fat in that time. Because I was just completely unhappy with life. So, get to Graterford. It's like, you ever see Shawshank Redemption?
Yeah.
It's a very accurate movie. The door slams behind you. You walk in with like 5, 6, 7 other guys that got like intake that day. Everyone's hooting and hollering at you. And Graterford was that old school prison. 2 tiers, 80 cells on a side, 2 sides. So you're talking up to 800 inmates on a block, possible. It's more like 600, but you got 600 people. Oh, fish, oh, fuck you, oh, you know, screaming at you. They're throwing shit because all the windows are busted out in the cells. And you're just marching in there with a pillow. You got a pillow and a toothbrush. That's what you got to your name and the clothes you're wearing. And you're like, I live here now.
Yeah.
This is where I live. So they put you to bed that night. Next morning, you're in the routine. You know, I got no experience in this. I at that point in my life, I had spent a night in a holding tank, you know, for some like hooligan shit I did in my early 20s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't have experience in this kind of shit. So they crack us out, we do breakfast, you know. And in this block I'm on, it's all new intakes or parole violators. So no one has jobs yet. No one has things to do in the prison. You're just on the block, food, yard, maybe medical. This is your life until you get shipped off to wherever you're going to spend the rest of your time. And then you can get a job and activities and school and things like that. So we got 3 yards a day. That's all you got to look forward to coming out of your cell.
Yeah.
It's the middle of summertime. It's like, I think I went in August. I don't know, I think it was August. Hot as fuck. Sweating my balls off. 400 plus 50-pound blob.
Yeah.
And I see the yards just wild. And there's like, and the yards there, like, you don't have activities like regular prison either, because it's all intake shit. So there's like a basketball court.
Okay.
There's like dudes doing pull-ups off a picnic table that they flipped over, and like, that's what you got.
Oh shit.
So I just started walking because I realized I didn't want to stand anywhere because I didn't know where to stand. I didn't know who to stand with. I made a conscious decision in my life that just my principles, like, yeah, you always say when you go into prison, you got to crew up with your race. Fuck that. That's just not me.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of racial things you do have to abide by in prison, but, like, I wasn't going to go up and, like, join the Nazis. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah,
Like, I was like, nah, I'm not playing these games. So I didn't know where to stand, who to stand with, so I just started walking. And 3 yards a day for 6 weeks there. And I always leave this part of the story out. It's a free market in jail. Now, I'm detoxing at this point from alcohol and other things. You can get anything you want in there. But I was like, you know what? You got to get your head right, dude. You got to get your head on a swivel. You're the softest target in here. That's what I kept telling myself. I mean, you are so soft. Like, you're not going to crew up. You're so grossly out of shape. Like, maybe you could fight when you were in your 20s, but you're a 30-year-old fat fuck now.
Yeah.
Like, this stops. You're not getting out. Like, no savior's going to come get you out. Like, you got to survive this. So, walked off like 30-some pounds. In those first few weeks. I'm delirious. And you got these awful state boots. My toenails were falling off. My feet were turning black, like cracked, bleeding. I'm wrapping like pieces of freaking torn sock around, making my own bandages and shit. Just like, but it couldn't stop. And it was out of necessity. I'm not tough. I'm not like David Goggins or anything like that. Like, it was just out of necessity. I was like, you just got to stay moving, dude. Because if you slow down, somebody's going to catch up with you and try to talk with you, and then they're going to realize you're soft.
Yeah.
And I was like, can't have that. So got through Greater just doing that. Got to my next stop, which was Camp Hill. That's when I was like a little bit better shape, a little bit better accommodations. But Camp Hill is really where you get like, they call it classification. So they figure out what makes you tick. You do a lot of psych evals, very militaristic.
Well, I do know Pennsylvania is very big on rehabilitation. Not some. Oh, really?
I can tell you stories. It's very fake.
Okay. That's what I learned.
All those programs exist. All those programs exist. They're co-opted though by people that are never getting out. So yeah, all those Pell grants for education and all those job, skill training programs. Guys doing 10, 20 life work their way into these programs. You know what I mean? And they're not getting out anytime soon, if ever. Whereas these young inner city kids that are doing 2 to 4 year sentences, 1 to 5s, 2 to 7s, whatever the case may be, that could benefit from learning some skills that are actually going to get out into the real world and get a second shot. They don't get those skills. So why do you think they go out and reoffend? Because they didn't get no rehabilitation because they weren't there long enough to qualify for any of the programs because the wait lists are so long. Oh, you got to qualify. Your level, your levels where it happens during this classification. If you're a dickhead, they're going to give you a level 4, maybe a level 3. You can't get some of those sweet jobs and gigs till you're a level 2. So 3s can get okay jobs, 4s barely work. 5s, you're in the hole. So you can't really get sweet gigs till you're like a 2, and then they have like 2R, and that when you're a 2R, you can pretty much, that's when you can go outside of the fence. You can really get all those rehabilitations and all that stuff. So yeah, those programs exist in Pennsylvania. Thank God they do, but they're, in my opinion, highly mismanaged for where their use could be. So got my classification, started doing push-ups, things like that. And I got shipped to my home jail, which was Smithfield, which is Huntington County, south of State College. And by the time I got there, I had 2 years left on my sentence. So I was like, dude, you're here for 2 years minimum, because that's your minimum sentence is 2.5. I always said that was my sentence because I was going to get out on my minimum hell or high water. And when I got there, dude, I took just fitness to like the next level. I was running. It was pathetic. You know what I mean? Like, but I was running. After a little bit of time there, they started doing CrossFit 3 days a week.
Oh, shit.
Started doing CrossFit there. This is why it's always funny when I talk to people, how long have you been doing CrossFit? And I'm like, I started this. But then I think, I'm like, my first 2 years were in prison. Leave that part out. Like when I went to get,
just bring that just a little closer. Yeah, you're good.
I'm a CrossFit coach. So like when I go to like my certification weekends and stuff, those questions always come up. Like, what box did you start in? I was like, Smithfield State Correctional Institution.
Dude, I think that's dope.
It was dope.
That is really cool. Because like, think about it this way too. And it's kind of superficial, but it's like everyone's going to like this place to get theirs, this place to get theirs. Nah, I got mine the hardest fucking way you could earn it.
Yep. So Yeah, like, and that was the thing. Like, I got a pretty good reputation in my prison because everybody knew that Zig like refused gang life. You know, it's still prison. You gotta do some things sometimes.
Yeah.
But like, you know, Zig kind of was refusing gang life, staying out of everybody's way. I always stayed super respectful. Like, I was my thing. My thing in prison was I called it like assertive respect. I was very very assertive when I had to be. Like, you're not gonna take something from me. You're not gonna like bully me in any way, shape, or form. But I'm gonna show you nothing but the utmost respect.
Fair.
I'm gonna hold doors. I'm gonna use my manners, but you're not gonna push up on me. And my thing that I realized very quickly, when you're not affiliated with any kind of gang, when you're just trying to do the right thing, but you're assertive, you're a hard target. Now here's the thing: you're some gangster. Like, yeah, I had things. My family and friends were taking really good care of me. The music scene, the amount of letters I got, the amount of they would put on benefit concerts for me and send me the money. So I had food, I had
Yeah.
sneakers. You know, I was living as good as you can live
Yeah.
in prison. So I had a lot of things you could take, but they realized that like, oh, Zig's not a bitch. He works out like a fiend in the yard. Like he's just out there getting it. But he's not crewed up. He's not this. You're rolling with some crew. You're a blood. You're a Latin King. You're whatever. You're not going to risk going to the hole, getting in a fight with me over nothing.
Yeah.
When like I don't do anything wrong. When you could go beat up that child molester and take something from him, or you could go beat up that guy from a rival crew and take
Yeah.
something from him. Then you're a hero. Like you're just risking getting in trouble, fucking with me, when
For
I don't really
nothing.
do anything wrong. Other than
Yeah.
you may want like a soup. Like, you know, you're really going to take a whole shot over soup? Because I'm going to fight you for the soup.
Yeah.
I don't want, and that was my thing. I was like, I don't want to. I want to go home, dude. Like, it is what it is. But
Yeah.
like, I'm also not going to give you anything. So
Yeah.
what are you gonna do about it? Respectfully.
Yeah. No, that's wild. So like, what is the most wild thing you've seen in there?
The craziest thing I ever saw. It was disgusting, man. I was walking. I got sober in prison too.
I forgot we were on a podcast for a second.
yeah.
I was just so
We were having a
glued to you.
conversation. Dude, I'm telling you, I could do I've done some long podcasts telling my story, but
Me asking that question, like pulling, like I was so glued to you. I was like, there's a microphone in front of my face.
yes.
Yeah, you were saying.
So I got sober in prison, and my sponsor was this guy Drew. Just crazy story, man. He was a Marine. Got out of the Marines, got into like drinking and drugs, like in the 90s. Didn't like civilian life like at all. Got hooked on some crazy drugs. Ended up robbing a bank.
Oh, that's
Yeah. And then he was just basically was this sad story of like 3 long prison sentences where like he basically was in high school, the Marines, state prison, federal prison, state prison. So I got him on the 3rd state prison bid. And by this point, he was really trying to turn himself around because he realized he had just wasted. He was in his 40s at the time. He wasted his whole life. So he became this like, he was the guy in there for like, he was the perfect guy for somebody like me.
Yeah.
To help me get clean. Because like I was still pretty hard-headed and not open-minded. You know, like I remember him, this is just a good side story on him, but he was like, you know, when you're getting sober, you do your step work and your 4 steps. You're fearless in searching moral inventory. So you gotta list all the bad shit you ever did.
Yeah.
And he was helping me do that. It takes a long time if you really put a lot of thought and effort into it. And it came to stealing. He gave me like prompts. It came to stealing. And I didn't write anything down. And he's like, motherfucker, you never stole nothing. I'm like, dude, no, like I've never even shoplifted. Like, I don't steal. He goes,
Yeah.
how about the time you're stealing from your fucking daughter right now for being a fucking idiot and being in prison? And I was like, we're getting deep. Like that's the type of, like he was on some gangster recovery shit.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to go cry for a few hours and then we're going to revisit this. But that's the type of guy he was. So I say that to say that, this guy had done a massive amount of time at this point. We're walking on the track one day, just me and him just bullshitting, catching up. He was one of my good buddies in there. We're walking across the track, and like the energy just shifts on the yard. You could always tell when something's going to go down. But Drew just slaps me on my belly. He goes, cut across the fucking grass right now. Like it's like he had like a third, like a
Yeah.
third eye popped up, and he saw what was about to happen. So we start to cut across the yard, and this fucking guy, 10 feet in front of us, pulls a fucking sword out of his pants. It was a lawnmower blade he had stolen from the maintenance shop and filed down, and he hacked this fucking guy up to pieces. And it all, as you can imagine, like all fucking hell broke loose, and it was just like, okay, and this just a firm reminder. At this point, I'd been in for a while. I'd seen some crazy shit, but like, it's like just a reminder. This is where you live. This is like how you're living.
That's crazy.
That was the craziest shit I ever saw. That was pretty nuts.
I've never heard a story like that before.
Yeah, it's the world, and I always say I was extremely lucky because Smithfield, every prisons go in cycles.
Okay.
Like very calm, very wild. Like you hear these stories about these awful, horrible prisons, and some just are worse than others. But a lot of times it's cycles.
Yeah.
So like the wrong inmates crowd up in one facility for too long, the guards get lax, whatever the case may be, and that facility goes bonkers for a while, and then they shift inmates around.
Yeah.
Of the 2 years I was at Smithfield, 1.5 of them were like pretty chill by like state prison standards. Like we had fights, we had stabbings, tons of drugs, but like we had a shitload of old school lifers that kind of kept everything relatively chill.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the worst place to be. And then my last 6 months I was there, they closed Graterford. And they shipped all sorts of new people up. And like a lot of like more high level gang guys and stuff. And then shit got live like my last couple of months there. But by that point, I was so like in my routine, in my world.
Yeah.
It didn't affect me too bad other than having to see some like you notice like violence was up. Like you'd be walking to chow and there'd be like some blood like on the concrete. You'd be like, oh, somebody got earlier. Great, cool. We'll be locked down later. Like while they search everybody.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, that it's just so wild. Like the most I've seen was like when I was like in high school. We took like a business law class, and you got to go to Monco, Montgomery County, and it was just like we were in like one of the pods, like I guess that's what they call them, and in front of us. Now I mean I need you to get this image in your head real quick.
I've never been to Monco, but I'll try.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, I need you to imagine, right? 30 white fucking Springford kids, right?
Oh yeah.
In a jail, and like we are in like the cell, like this massive cell. There's like this. It kind of looks like this. It's like massive. It's all open. There's a TV. Then there's a level, and then a level. Each one is like individual like rooms, like cells. The pod.
Yeah.
They're all out. They're
room.
all hanging.
It's called day room.
It's day. Yeah.
Block out.
We're chilling. Dudes sitting on the table. The guys sitting here. They're like talking to us like it's a normal Tuesday, and there's nothing between no one.
Nope.
Coolest experience I ever had in my life.
And I believe it because one, you're dealing with county prisoners, and I always say like county, you're more likely to get in drama and fights in county, but you're more likely to die in state. There's a lot more drama in county, but the stakes are a lot higher in state. So like county's no joke.
Yeah.
You're gonna go there. You're probably gonna get some fights. You're probably gonna get banged on and stuff. But like, I don't think the circumstances are as high, at least in my experience. And I was only in county very briefly.
You ever been banged up?
I got in one fight in prison. It was with my cellie. I beat the fucking shit out of him, and I was basically crying. Like, you joke, you call me dad.
Yeah.
I felt like a father, like, spanking his child, because he was just this dumb fucking Central PA white kid that just was so stupid. And the thing was, like, if you were my cellie, I rode with you. If I'm eating, you're eating. We're watching TV. Let's find something we both want to watch because I had a TV. Like, I wasn't a dickhead cellie at any means, other than, like, I snore and, like, I'm taking the bottom bunk. These are non-negotiables. When it's time for me to shit, you're going to face the wall and you're not going to move till I'm done, and I shit for a long time. You know? But other than that, like, I tried to be as cool of a fucking cellie as I could be. And then this kid Cody, my cellie at the time, man, I went to the shower, take a shower, and there was somebody in there, and I didn't want to, like, blow that person's spot up because they weren't supposed to be in there. So I quick, like, dip back to our cell, and there he is in my shit taking stuff. Like, there's a thing in prison where, like, if you let that happen and it gets out that you let that happen, it's going to keep happening. So I literally walked in, and mind you, I'm in a towel and my boxers. And I'm like, Cody. And he looks at me like a deer in headlights. I'm like, you're making me do this, dude. Like, we got to go. Like, we got to do this now. Because, like, you've literally gave me no, like, but, like, if you wanted chips, ask me for chips. I would have said eat chips. You know what I mean? Like, you want a soup, have a soup. I've never told you no in the couple weeks we had been Sally's. Like, I find you robbing me? And, like, yeah, it was really sad. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I had to do it.
I had to do it.
He knew.
Yeah, he was. I actually talked to him a few more times. He ended up going to the hole for a long time. I never saw him again because he got so hooked on drugs while he was in there. He was bad before. He got worse in there.
Fuck.
But no, I was very lucky in prison because I had like I said, I had a very good reputation, and then like we started this whole tangent with the fitness stuff. But like pretty quickly, like I got in shape, man. I was in the weight room 3-4 times a week. I was running, doing burpees and shit in the yard. Every yard I had, I was doing CrossFit 3 days a week. I mean, I got in pretty fucking good shape. You know, I had my whole respectful, assertive situation down. I made a couple good key friends with good to know people. You know what I mean? I networked a little bit.
Yeah.
I had a pretty good system. The biggest problem I had was they weren't like the Nazi gang at my prison was like a very fake Nazi gang. I always like put up the caveat that had it been like a real like Aryan Brotherhood or anything like that, it might have been it might have been a different story. PA doesn't really deal with that kind of level of stuff. They have different like smaller weird crews. Those guys fucking hated me because obviously I turned them down and told them they were clowns.
Yeah.
And then I have some tattoos from my past life of being a criminal.
Yeah.
That contradict their lifestyle.
Well, it's funny 'cause you should have told him like one of the situations that happened the one night with you defending your buddy.
Well, that's when it happened. So, but they can just tell from my tattoos that I'm against them.
Nice. Okay.
Just as it's like obvious to you, they got swastikas on them. They're on that team. Might not be as obvious the stuff that I have, but the stuff that I have says I'm on another team.
The good people's team.
I'm on. Yeah, I tried. I try. So there was one funny situation where, for a while, they were really like kind of angry with me, and at one point they told me like I can't work out in the yard with my shirt off anymore because of my tattoos. So that just made me work out with my shirt like off all the fucking time. So I really thought it was gonna come, but it never ended up coming. And I'm not saying it's because I was like a tough guy or anything. I really think it comes down to like, why would a gang waste the manpower?
Yeah.
Because if you fight in prison, you're gonna go to the hole.
Yeah.
Unless you get so lucky that you happen to do it, nobody sees it, and you plan it really well, and you go into a dark corner, or like you beat up your cellie, like that happens all the time, because there's no cameras in the cells.
Yeah.
But like, you're not going to do that to somebody you're trying to make an example of. You want everybody to see you beat that person up.
Yeah.
So now everyone's going to go to the hole. Why are you going to go to the hole for some unaffiliated guy that you just don't like his tattoo? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I think that's more or less. It's not because I'm so tough that they didn't want to do it. No, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No. I mean, that explanation makes sense to me. Because again, I don't really, and I'll be honest, I don't have all that experience. I mean, like, the craziest shit in my life was I used to live in Trenton. Like,
please don't get those experiences.
I'm more afraid of you beating the shit out of me doing that.
I work extremely hard now. Like, it's one of my life's goals, just to like help people avoid those kind of decision making that like lines you up in that place. And God forbid you do end up going to that place. I've helped quite a few people. Like, hey, dude, here's the game plan. Like, we're gonna set you up for as much success as possible while you have to go through this.
But I'm telling you that you really created a good community. Like, even people, like, I told you this story about Christine. It's like where people want to be in this room doing like laborious things and have fun doing it because they know you're gonna be there.
Well, appreciate that. That's the goal, man. That's the goal. I want this stuff changed my life so much for the better that like if it can pull me out of this horrible depression, this horrible alcoholism, this horrible legal situation, this horrible financial situation, because like I lost all my money when all that shit was going on. I put my family through so much hard times. Dealing with all that. If we can, as a unit, come out of that, still have a strong, healthy family, get sober, get healthy, worry about the right things, learn what matters and what doesn't matter, man. Like, I used to give a shit what people thought. I know it's like cliche to be like, I don't give a shit what people think. No, I still do, but now I don't react on it.
Oh,
You
okay,
know
that
what I
makes
mean?
sense.
Like, because it's like, what matters and what doesn't. You made that amazing compliment to me a minute ago.
Yeah.
Love that. So if I'm helping 10, 20, 30 people do that, and there's some haters over here, does it really matter that there's
No.
haters over there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even if there's 50 haters, if you're helping 30, it's not like everybody hates you. You know what I mean? Like,
there's this, and I say it all the time. I have to watch where I say it, but it was a stupid Facebook video like 4 years ago, and it was this dude. I don't remember even who it was, but he goes, "Get a problem today? Fuck him. You woke up this morning, water was all messed up. Fuck him. That guy's being a dickhead. Guess what?" And it replays in my head all the time where it's like, someone's like, "Yo, man, fuck you." Fuck him. I just keep walking, keep pushing. As my buddy Gio always says.
I love getting a road rage thing or some I've come across a few situations just real recently where like people were testing my inner gangster, and I'm like, you know what? They don't need to know my inner gangster, because my inner gangster makes decisions that land you in stories like we just told.
Yeah.
You know what's more gangster?
What?
Ignoring the fuck out of them and going home to my awesome wife and my beautiful children and showing up at the gym and getting tons of high fives and lifting some heavy shit and then repeating the cycle tomorrow.
Yeah,
Because you know what? You're not in the yard watching people get hacked to pieces.
That's
Yo,
wild. I'm gonna laugh.
You're not. Yeah, I laugh about it all the time. You're not eating the worst fucking food you've ever eaten in your fucking life.
How is prison food?
It's terrible. And they fuck with you sometimes with your food. Like, if they want to punish you, like, I'm not talking shit. I have many friends that are prison guards. In fact, I had a few friends.
I have a buddy who was a prison guard.
I have a few friends that were prison guards that looked out for me while I was in prison and helped me with my stay. I got love and respect. But, and I think they would all agree with this, the gloves are on with the guards these days. This isn't the 70s anymore where the guards are going to go in and beat the shit out of you. Once in a while, that stuff happens. But, like, it's not like back in the day. So if inmates are being dicks, do they get their revenge? It's in subtle ways like that. Like, I know, like, when we had a string of really bad fights, all of a sudden the food got real small on the tray. You know what I mean? Like, we had a couple days where, I'm not kidding you, there was like a ladle of watered down soup and a slice of white bread. And it's like, here's your fucking lunch. And it's like, yo, it's supposed to be chicken patty day. Well, I ain't got no fucking chicken patties. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, you know, I get what's going on here.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, but even on a good day, like, the food's horrible. It's hard, like, to get big and strong in prison. You need money, because you got to be buying commissary.
Yeah.
Or you got to have scams going. Like, I had scams. I didn't smoke, but I would always buy tobacco. Like, I would say, like, I was a really good inmate.
Yeah.
I wasn't a perfect inmate, because you still got to survive.
Yeah.
So, like, while I didn't do drugs or gang things, like, I did do sports books. I liked sports betting.
Okay.
You know, just because I needed something fun to do while I was there. So I had like a fantasy football team and shit. But and the dude who ran it was a legit Philly mob guy, and he was fucking awesome.
That's so cool.
I know he killed a bunch of people in the '80s or whatever, but like, he ran a tight ship. He had a good book. He always paid. But I had these scams going for food because everyone knew I was like a workout fiend, where I would have rolled cigarettes, but I didn't smoke.
Oh, okay.
So if you came back on hard-boiled egg day, 2 eggs was a smoke. So I'd have all these fiends that didn't have money on their books, like, coming by my cell, like doing drug handoffs, but it's 5, 6 fucking hard-boiled eggs. I'm passing out cigarettes for hard-boiled eggs.
Dude, this man's getting 6 grams of protein. 6 grams of protein.
Yep, that's how I was doing it. You could get protein shakes in there. They were super expensive. They were these single-use packets. I'd stretch them to 2 uses. They were like $3 a shot. Strawberry only. I hate strawberry. I'll never drink strawberry protein powder again in my life. But you could get that. But yeah, you can make it work. But you needed money if you wanted to stay strong like that. Even getting in the weight room, it's not like the movies either, where the weights in the yard. We had machines in the yard, like fixed machines Horrible fixed machines, but fixed machines. But other than that, you want to go to the freeway room, that was a privilege. You had to earn that. You had to stay on people's good side. Like, I was lucky that the sports director was married to my boss. I worked in the drug and alcohol counseling department.
Okay.
So I was a teacher's aide and a peer aide. And my teacher's aide that I worked for, like my teacher, was her husband, was the sports director.
Okay, I understand.
So she kept me cycled in the weight room. But I mean,
Yeah.
like, that's a privilege. Like, you got to get all that stuff. And it's tough. You think it's hard to get equipment in our gym on a busy day? Try like needing the squat cage, and there's like 15 Latin Kings just hanging around the squat cage. It's pretty hard.
That's terrifying.
You know, it was funny that by the time I left, that's who I was working out with.
With the Latin Kings?
Latin Kings, and they only speaks English. They're like, puppy, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's lift.
Oh, it's great, dude.
Yeah.
But it really is cool because, like, you know, like, I was always hesitant to ask because I was like, because again, I always and this is the thing, like, especially coming from like Jersey and then here and like a lot of people like that I was friends with. It's like you can't, you know,
No,
I just can't judge someone on that. And in my head, it's like I hear so many good things about you, and then Kevin said something, and I was like, okay.
Yeah. So fuck Kevin.
It's always Kevin.
Well, Kevin should hate me. I was really mean to him while we worked together. But he deserved it. No, I'm really open and honest about my story. The biggest problem, I'm choking. The biggest problem with my story is it's so difficult to explain briefly.
Yeah.
Because, like, if I tell you the quick version, it makes it sound like I am very guilty. And the thing is, in my opinion, I am very guilty of a lot that night. I made a series of horrible decisions that compounded on each other that now, 15 years later, you know, I can draw a straight line. I can see how the dominoes would fall that way.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when I'm just like quickly telling the stories, it's like, yeah, you know, I got in this fucking fight and I did the time because that's the truth. But it's also the truth is like, I didn't fucking stab anybody. I didn't see anybody get stabbed. Yeah. Like that whole thing to me is a fucking mystery. And look, I have no skin in the game at this point to lie about it.
Yeah.
Like, crime is done, time is done. I think it would make me cooler in some people's eyes if I was like, yeah, I fucking stick these dudes up, you know, whatever. Yeah. Fuck them, they're racists. Like, no, like, didn't I have my theories now on who did it after like years of my own investigation? Because somebody on my side did it. You know what I mean? Like, it was like a us versus them type of fight.
Okay.
You know, I got some theories, you know, on who did it, but you know, what am I gonna do?
Time's
hey, done. I need you to rat yourself out because what? I'm gonna get that time back?
You're not.
I'm not. And you know what's great? That time profoundly changed my life for the better. I found health. I found fitness. I found a sense of confidence that can only come with struggle.
Yeah.
That, like, I survived this. Why can't I get up and go to work today? Like, why can't I provide for my son? My son's being a dick today. Why can't I stay calm with him? You stayed calm in the face of
nugget.
Yeah, you stayed calm in the face of gangsters like trying to take shit from you. Like, why can't you be calm with your 3-year-old throwing a tantrum? You know what I mean? Like, or like that young buck, you know, big chip on his shoulder guy, like brushes you off or gets in a car road rage thing with you or whatever the case may be. What do I have to prove to this guy? He ain't walked till his feet bled. He ain't walked till his toenails fall off. He didn't stand up to the gang trying to recruit him and go, you're all clowns. Like, you can't take that from me. What do I have to prove to you? So, like, as much as I hate what happened to me, especially now, more for Nora missing 2.5 years with me growing up. Not that she really remembers it, because she really doesn't. Not the horrible situation I put my wife in and the financial burden I put her and our family in that we're still digging out from, you know, years later. That's the stuff I feel bad for now. But, like, what directly happened to me, wouldn't wish it on you. But, like, what a lesson to be learned. Like, you can't learn some of this knowledge any other way. You know,
I feel like
some
such
people
a
have their
pussy.
struggle.
Listen to this. Well, I know you're gonna say, but it's wild because, you know, a lot. And I think this is a good lesson for a lot of people that are out there listening to is like, there's a lot of people and a lot of stories you hear, especially like in Norristown, coming from Trenton, or like even people just like in this area where it's like they're hooked on drugs. They went in and out of jail. They're bouncing 6 months. They bounce whatever it is, and then it's like they come out and they're still on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Those are the people I want to help so bad.
Well, so that's the thing. I think a lot of people see that, right? And people and like this big popular show that just came out. It was massive. I watched it. It was Euphoria on HBO, and it's like people see all these things like people coming out of jail, coming out of rehab facilities, but it's really cool to see someone like you who's not going to share this awesome story to like people that are out there listening, and be like, dude, like, fuck yeah, you can fucking do it.
You 100% can do it, but you gotta want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're the only one that can do the work, and you can't wait for a second to think that the state's going to rehabilitate you, or AA is going to rehabilitate you, or whatever. Those things may be able to help, but like you gotta want to do it, and you have to be tough enough to do it because, and I'll tell you right now, if you're not willing to do it, I'll say it. That kid right now that you probably know in your age group, because your age group's like the prime demographic for in and out of prison.
Yeah.
You know, the start of this whole thing, that mid-20s, you know, that time. I'll say it. If you've done your little weekends where you're slap on the wrist and you're coming out and you're still acting like a jagaloon, it's because you're not tough. It's because you're not tough. You're not tough enough to recognize that, like, this is a stupid way to live through life.
Yeah.
And the hard work
like
is not living like that. The hard work is changing everything, changing who you hang out with, how you hang out with them, how you associate with them.
Yeah.
That's hard. It's easy just to fall back in your old routines. It's easy to say, yeah, I'm going to have a beer tonight. It's easy to say, oh, I'm going to smoke a joint tonight. It's easy to, whatever. I'm going to do a fucking line of coke tonight. You think I don't watch The Wolf of Wall Street and want to throw blow in my face? Mm-hmm. Blow's awesome.
I know.
But guess what?
That's out there now. Yeah, everyone knows that. Yeah.
It's awesome for that night.
Yeah.
But what's it doing for you tomorrow? You gonna get up and go to the gym tomorrow?
Yeah.
You're gonna take care of your kid tomorrow? You're gonna do all these things? Like it's not that awesome. I'm not saying people don't have to be sober. I don't believe that everybody has drug and alcohol problems where like abstinence is the only way.
Yeah.
Like that's not me. My wife still drinks. She drinks in front of me. I can't drink. Well, I'm not gonna stop her from drinking.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of nights where I tell her, hey, you had one, maybe two. We got to train tomorrow. You got a competition in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Is that third glass of wine going to help you get that rep?
Yep.
Probably not.
Well, that was a conversation I had to ask myself last night. Because, you saw me, this morning? And
you look like shit.
Yeah, I did. And you know what's wild? So last night, they were also all the texts. They all had this big Halloween party over in Westchester. And I got out of there, and it was like 11:15. I'm showered. I'm in my chair. Everyone's calling me. I'm like, I gotta make a lifetime decision right now. It's like I compete in a week. I worked 14 hours.
Who are you competing against?
Oh, some random really. He's gonna get crushed. I won't even worry about him, guys. Yeah. Do you ever heard of him?
I think we'll put the stats up here in a week. No, Matt and I are competing against each other next Saturday.
Cool, dude.
It's gonna be awesome. I'm so looking forward to it.
Where's Kevin? We should have had Kevin here to hype us up.
Hype it up. Meanwhile, though, I already know I'm just gonna be like, yo, Matt, this is how you beat me.
Well, it was actually no. And again, I keep complimenting you, which is kind of funny. But like, you did text me the other day. You're like, hey, do you need help, like prepping and things like that? And like, it's cool to see that. And I think we had a conversation last time about you showing how to use how to use your figure eights, or how to use figure eights on a guy that beat you by like point whatever of a second.
0.02 seconds. 0.2 seconds.
How does that make you?
0.02. Oh man, it stings, but I always say that's how I want my son to lose.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah,
gentlemanly way to go. But yeah.
But no, it's cool, and again, not many people are like that because like again, I've wrestled against guys, I've played football against guys, I've lifted against guys where it's like they'll start whispering sweet nothings in your ear just so you don't get the lift. Or
I think it comes down to a lot of the stuff we're talking about today too, though. It's like what's cooler, like putting another fucking $3 medal on my mantle because that's where they go, or like passing on some knowledge.
Well, that's the same thing that
You know what I
Roman
mean?
said.
That's too cool to me. Like I want all the people we train with, like I want them to excel, and if excelling means beating me, right on.
Dude, can we just start with the fact that like from day one of you guys coming there, we had that big crew, and we still have a big crew.
It's massive. Yeah.
Dude, it's so cool. Like, and what's even cool? I'll shout him out. Like Destin, him and I become so close now.
Destin's a man.
Dude, I fucking love him, dude. He's so dope.
Like he was somebody that like trained with me at PAC, but not really. Like,
Yeah.
he was there. He started kind of coming to the strongman classes we had there for a minute, and then like everything went down that went down, and then like he like popped up in like the gym setting, and it's like a duck in water. Like he found like that's where he's just
Yeah.
like I think that transition for him was better than almost anybody else's transition.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what like just being around more people his age, whatever the case was, but like he's thriving in that environment, and it makes me like extremely happy.
Dude, and I always say it. I've shot them out a million times. Like Jim and Amy. Yeah. I think it helps when they are very like, lift, have a great time. You guys are awesome. Keep being amazing. Like
Don't break my turf.
Don't break my. Yeah, they are very. If anything, I have seen Amy and Jim like give people crap out the turf than like bending a bar.
Yeah, they like that
You know-
turf. Because every Sunday I got stressed because like I feel responsible for anything that happens in that class.
Yep.
So like when I see the block bouncing off the crash pads onto the turf, I'm like, oh, they put that stress on me.
Yeah.
But it's because they're so awesome.
I
want to do right by them.
Yep. Cody and I are the same way. Like so, like when we did stones, we'll go to that side, and like I am moving mats. He's like, all right, should we put the ones on the side? I'm like, no, we should be good. Just don't drop them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm stressing, and a normal, I guess, 24-year-old would be like, fuck them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
They get my money.
They get my. Yeah. No, it's not like that.
No.
I'm very like, or like if I see someone like using a bar while I'm just slamming it, I'm like, Jimmy didn't even pay for that. Don't do that. Yeah.
Yep. What else you got for me?
Oh no.
You opened up the huge can of worms.
I did.
Oh, I told you I'd tell you the.
Oh yeah.
The reality TV story.
Yes.
I got stories, man.
Dude, it's just sorry. I for a hot minute there, just before you tell it, I need you to understand. And everyone out there that I've had on, I still love you guys. It's nothing personal. It's just we were having like a connection there, and I was so like internalizing, like trying to like every situation you were talking about. I'm like visualizing it in my head, and I'm like, oh whoa, like this broke into my line of sight. And I went,
this is being recorded. But yeah, so I mean like that's the cool shit though. Is like I've had like these wild, cool experiences, and like, yeah, I don't know. I don't mind sharing it. My one thing is like, if I was to ever do like an autobiography, I feel like people would read it and be like, "This is bullshit." You know, like I would need to like, as the youth say, like I would need to put so many receipts in there.
Show me the receipt. This is cat, brother.
Yeah, like I would need to put so many receipts in there.
Well, speaking of
People would
wild
be like,
shit,
yeah.
you said you had like
So
no, you're good. You're good.
He was asking me before we got on. We were talking about music shit.
I had to stop him. Like, wait, I want to get this on recording. Yeah.
So there was a thing like, and one thing I always say with like the band shit that I did in my 20s, like in my late teens and 20s, like I could tell the stories one way, and make them sound like really epic, like rock star shit.
Yeah.
But like the reality is like we were a blue collar band, like
That's so
struggling to make a living, but we were doing it.
Yeah.
So keep in mind like the caliber that I'm talking about. Like we're talking like medium high level punk rock here, but like with some label backing, you know, whatever.
So dope.
So we got my band. I was in this band called Animal House. It was my favorite band I was ever in. It was this magical band. I swear I'd still be doing it, but our singer passed away.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and he was one of my best friends. But it was just lightning in the bottle for a few years, like 2010 to like I think we played our tribute show to John when he passed away, like in 2014. But like really like 2010 to 2012, like this band was like doing it.
Yeah.
We were making decent money. We were on the road. We got a small record deal. So we got signed to this record label, One Day Savior. Did some notable, big, notable bands on it back in the day or whatever. But at this point, like, they weren't doing much. A couple active bands. So the owner of the label comes to me because I kind of handled all the business for the band. He comes to me. He's like, I got this idea for a reality TV show. I'm like, oh, here we fucking go. Like, this is going to be dumb. But he's like, no, like, this is legit. Like, this is happening. Like, I've got money, people putting money into it. Like, we're making a pilot. Like, we want you guys to be involved.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, all right, well, like, what's the show? Because I'm thinking, like, you can't film my band. Like, my band is degenerates. We were drunken hooligans. Like, that was the theme of that band. Animal House was like, we were coming to your town. Yeah, we were coming to your town to fucking party it down and leave. So I'm like, all right, what's the band? Like, what's the plot? He tells me he had this real pretty kind of boy band. Like, they played instruments, but like they were basically a boy band on the label. He had kind of this like indie rock band. I think there might have been a hip hop guy involved, and then our band. And the premise was going to be following around these working class bands of varying genres, and like just seeing how they did, like how this world works. It's not all tour buses and stadiums. Like, this is what like a club band, bands playing the small clubs circuit are dealing with. And I'm like, that's a really fucking cool premise.
Yeah.
And you guys are the wild card. You guys are the party band. Like, we want you to like lean into it. I'm like, you want that to fucking lean into it? Like, I don't think you understand these guys. Like, I was like the cleanest one, and I was bad.
Holy shit.
And I was like, all right. So we set up a string of shows. Set up like, I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 shows. We did like Pittsburgh, Wheeling, West Virginia, somewhere in Ohio, and Detroit.
Okay.
And we picked those cities because like they were cities that tended to like go hard.
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
Wheeling, West Virginia is a magical place in my heart because these coal mining hillbillies, there's no law. So you take a band like Animal House and put them in a crystal meth infused coal mining town with no laws. We had some epic nights in Wheeling, West Virginia. Epic. So we pick Wheeling. So this camera crew comes with us. Like, I knew we were fucked from the start because like these dudes come in like they're like tight little blazers and they're like artsy. Like they look like kids that got hired like right out of like UArts in Philly. You know what I mean? In like the 2000s.
Oh shit.
And I'm like, oh, these guys are gonna die. And they come with us on this string of shows, and we played Wheeling. It was fucking crazy. We partied one of the camera crew guys so hard he ended up shitting his pants. Like, it was day one. I remember like I wake up the next day after the Wheeling show. I think it was the first show, and I'm on like the balcony of the hotel on the phone with my label guy, like going, "What the fuck are you guys doing? Like leave the camera people alone." I'm like, we didn't like make them party with us. Like, we're just fun, like. So fast forward, we get to Detroit.
Oh man.
There is this epic fight after the show at this after party. Like 1% bikers got involved. There was guns. There was an explosion. Like, I'm not making it up. You know what I mean? Like, at one point, we weren't involved in the fight because at the time, like, my legal shit had just happened.
Oh, I understand.
Like, had just happened.
So
So like, I literally had like the camera crew. I was like, film me here. Film me. Like, I'm here. That's going on over there. You know what I mean? Like, I want a camera on me at all times. I need the evidence.
Yeah.
Type shit. Because I had just found out that they were like considering me for that shit. And I was like scared.
Yeah.
So then at one point, like, we're kind of like 10 yards away from the fight while it's going on. And a fucking gun like slides across the pavement, like kind of like towards me. And I'm like, turn the fucking camera off because I'm picking this gun up. Because if anybody's going to have a gun, it's going to be me because this is getting real. So I ended up with like this firearm and it was stupid. So there was a story. This is on camera. This film exists. In fact, if you look up Animal House on YouTube tour footage. We took snippets that were legal and put it to one of our songs. So like you can see like this fight about to start. You can see like the first kid get knocked over.
I gotta find this.
Yeah, it's
dude.
tour footage. Animal House, Haus is how you spell house. So this fight happens. All this crazy shit. We come back to Pennsylvania. A couple weeks go by. Have a meeting.
Oh my god.
And the label guy, who's my buddy, is my buddy Tommy. I love him. But he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? And I'm like, you said to lean into it. So we took you to where it gets wild. I thought we made TV gold. You know,
I'm thinking you made TV gold.
I'm thinking like I'm gonna get an Emmy. Like I'm rich. This is how I'm gonna pay my bills now. Like this is fucking amazing. And he's like, we can't use any of this shit. You guys were committing crimes. I'm like, what do you think we do on tour? Our band is called Animal House. Like, what do you think happens? Like, we thought we were doing good because we cut out the fact that we used to drink and drive the van. So, like, we thought we were playing by the rules because we weren't drunk driving. I mean, this band was horrible. Like, it's funny to say, but, like, I look back on it, I'm like, we were reckless. Like, living clean now like I am, I'm like, oh, my God, how did I ever condone this stuff? We can't use any of this stuff. So I'm like, well, what's the deal with the TV show? Like, we going to do it again? He's like, if it even gets picked up, y'all won't be involved. So we didn't get picked up for this TV show. The TV show never got picked up anyway. But we weren't going to be involved. And yeah, I'm still friends with one of the camera guys to this day. Like he was actually a barber client of mine forever. The guy who shit his pants. So like every time he'd come into the barber shop, the story would come up, and he's like, "No, it's real. Like these guys are maniacs."
That is like. I need you to understand, like, about this whole time of just visualizing these things, all I can imagine, right, is, like, just some, like, obviously I don't know any of the people, but this guy in, like, a suit in, like, New York, we can't use any of it. You guys are, like, waking up, there's, like, women everywhere, there's drugs on the table. He goes, what do you mean? We can't, that's all I can.
It's gold. This is a Scorsese film. Like, we're doing it.
Oh,
but, yeah,
God.
so that was my one stint. And I'll tell you this. I'm glad it didn't work, other than the money would have probably been nice, because it was so fucking annoying having a camera in your face for 4 days straight.
Yeah.
I don't know how these reality people do it.
Yeah.
Like at one point, I remember the one guy followed me to the bathroom, and I was like, I'm going to take a shit. Nothing's going to happen. Like, what? Like, and when I got out of the bathroom, he was like standing there. And I was like, this is stupid.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
And I couldn't do it.
I have very low patience for, like, people in general, so, like, I don't think I could do it.
Well, yeah, that was the reality TV. That was my stint at fame.
Oh,
I tried real hard.
Dude, I might have abs now. Holy shit. I was not expecting that. That is hysterical. So we get it? No, we can't.
I left out the best part.
What?
I left out the best part. This is shit you can't make up. This kid, he's still a dear friend of mine, Matt Kane, who lives up in Detroit. He got so wasted. He was in the bathtub of this house that we were partying at, and he ends up covering himself in baby powder. So, like, I was witnessing this, like, an hour before the fight, right? Like, there's Matt in a bathtub just covered in baby powder. I'm like, that's funny. His dick's out. He's covered in baby powder. It's weird. So, Matt, on my 3-year-old baby son, this fight's about to go down. Like, everybody's posturing. Matt comes running out of the house with a towel wrapped around him. As Matt's running in, this kid, this is actually in the video, you see this kid go, who wants to fucking go? And he bitch slaps this fucking dude, like, unconscious. Because that was the only thing we could show from the fight. So this kid bitch slaps this kid. As Matt's running up, Matt flips off his towel to expose his butt-naked, fucking covered in baby powder ass, goes, who wants to fucking die? And starts throwing haymakers, and it just exploded. Like, that's how the fight started. And it's on camera. One Day Savior Records owns this footage, and God, it would be amazing to see. So and Matt is not well put together. I love him, but he's like just like a short, squat guy. Like he's just, yeah. It's not like a bodybuilder came running out. It's kind of.
I can see his Danny DeVito.
He's kind of Danny DeVito-ish. I don't want to put that evil on him, but yeah, he's on the shorter and squat side.
Dude. Yo, I might really have abs now. I can't. I hurt.
That's good. We didn't do core today.
Oh my god.
You all right?
Yeah. All right. Holy shit.
I broke the host.
Oh my god, dude. That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah. It was, like I said, you could tell it one way or the other, but then I could also tell you about how, like, we ate ramen and some nights couldn't afford a hotel, and, like, it wasn't a very glamorous life. And, like, we'd come home from tour and have to get, like, some of the guys would go back to college, and, like, I would go work in, like, a warehouse. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it wasn't. Depending on the how you want to tell the story is how glamorous it could be.
That's insane, dude. All right, well, we had an hour and a half here, but dude,
Do I get to be the hour and a half guy?
yeah, sure. I listen. I was ready for it to be 2.
You better. If we ever go deep into if you ever want to go deep into like prison rehabilitation, like I always say, like I'll tell the funny and like interesting prison stories as long as I can tell. Like that, hey, these are the reforms we need. These
if
are
you
what
want,
the people
next
do.
time we do this.
But that ain't gonna be short. That's gonna be a
That's
gonna be a
fine.
podcast.
That's fine. But oh my god, dude, I
also have the unique perspective. I worked on both sides of the law. You know,
that's what you were constantly.
so yeah,
That's crazy, dude. I can't breathe. Not only did I lose my voice from this morning, but oh my gosh, I needed that because I've had a rough week.
good. Glad we could lighten it up.
But guys, I really hope you enjoyed having them on. I drink. Shout out I drink. Also,
Pagoda City Showdown, May 18th.
thank you. Took the words right out of my mouth. Beautiful. You guys see it up here. This is what it'll look like on Iron Podium if you want to look it up. If you guys are interested in competing in strongman, if you're not interested in competing in strongman, you should consider it because it's pretty dope. And
The show is set up for the beginner to try. I will challenge the pros, but all the novice category stuff, I have set up for just the average gym goer that wants to give the sport a try.
Yeah, dude. And genuinely, again, I keep complimenting you. You really can't ask for a better promoter. He's doing everything right and everything that I would want to see at a comp. So definitely check it out, guys. Shout out I Drink. They're awesome. Bobby, who's been hounding everyone, and his beautiful wife. They're great. So check out their product as well. You can talk to Ziggy or head up I Drink on Instagram as well. They will be able to help you out with any of your I Drink needs. Now, excuse me. I have tears that are soaked into my shirt.
I broke him.
Dude, I was, holy shit. Dude, seriously, thank you for stopping out. I'm sure you had a long day. But I appreciate it. And guys, if you want to reach out to him, it's Ryan Ziegler. Your
Instagram Ziggy610.
There it is, and it'll be up live under him too. You guys can reach out to him. He's great. I promise you, he's not like this just because of cameras here. He really is like this all of the time, if not funnier. Like he's brutally honest. Like this morning, I got to the gym. He goes, "You look like shit." I'm like, "Thanks, man. Really kickstarted my day." But yeah, so sir, thank you so much. Until next time.
See you guys.